Alrighty, the NFL never takes a day off. And again, through social media and everything else, it's so awesome to connect with people over that way. It's crazy. You used to write a letter if you met a cute girl at camp and then write it and then wait for a return back. But now it's just a click away to meet people that you see on TV and that sort of thing. And tonight I'm joined by Mikey Hulkhands, known to be with the Hulkhands at the NFL draft and then doing the Jets at MetLife Stadium. So yes, I do have the Chiefs clock in the back. I'm getting ready
I
for
see it.
the Week 9 matchup. That is a game we are planning to go to as a family. So I don't know if you're going to go there, but
We are 50-50 for that game right now.
okay.
I'd love to go because I want to see the stadium before it goes away. I was
Yes,
there for the draft a few years back, and
right.
during the draft, you don't really get to see the stadium,
No.
in its real, in its true essence.
Yeah.
Of I've always wanted to go to a Chiefs game where I'm not playing them, so I can kind of join in on the fun,
Right.
because it's so intense there. To be an away fan, it's tough.
Yeah,
So,
most definitely. We were in the upper deck for the game, but I'm looking in the lower bowl and everybody's standing. Nobody sits down for the entire game. It was quite
mhm.
something. So I do have an opportunity to get lower bowl seats. Um, so it should be a fun time. But we're here to talk about the New York Jets. And so yes, I do have a hat signed by Chris Trebler, who played some time.
Yeah, number 15.
Yeah, number 15. And I remember he was in that Thursday night game and the whole crowd was chanting Strebler and everything else. And it was quite something to be a part of. But let's take us back to your story, how you became a Jets fan and all of that. And where did that kind of all originated? I've listened to some, but this is your story.
Yeah, for more or less born into it, for lack of a better word. I was born in Queens, in New York
Cool.
City, and not far from Shea Stadium. I had a great mom. My father wasn't with us, and one of my neighbors took me to a game with his son, my good friend Greg,
Mhm.
and I just fell in love right away. It's so different live as a kid. It's the colors and the field, and Shea Stadium was a baseball stadium primarily, but it was just it was just really. I just fell in love with the game right away.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. We got killed the day we went. We lost to Miami. It was like a blowout, but back then there wasn't a lot of traveling fans, so it
Mhm.
was all New York Jets fans pretty much, and it was just it was green, and I was really into the Hulk as a kid, and that was my color. And I just, started to go to games as much as I could from then. As a kid, you don't have many options, but anytime I was invited, I'd go, or they'd have a promotion on like the back of a Pepsi can,
Mhm.
$2 tickets in the upper bowl, or you know what I mean? Whenever I could go, I can go. And as I got older and started to work and could afford it, I got season tickets and, you know, uh, go. I don't remember the last time I missed a game.
Right. So how long have you been a season ticket holder for?
We've been season ticket holders since the old stadium, and the new stadium opened in 2010. So since then, we've obviously been season ticket holders all of MetLife's life. And But I started going to games in 1976,
Crazy. Yeah.
so about 50 years.
So,
Yeah,
so since you were 6 years old, right?
yeah, yeah.
But that's where it originates, right? And that's where the passing of the culture. And um, I had somebody who was in New York in 2023 when the Giants played the Cowboys and then the Jets played the Bills on the Monday night. And he came back to me and he said, "You know what? New York is a Jets town. Would you agree?"
Uh, it's tough to say when we're winning. um, I try and my fiance is from Europe, and she's only seen. We've been together 7 years, so she's only seen really the bad of the
Mhm.
Jets. And uh, in as early as 2015, we were a good team. Almost playoff bound. And when you would go to the stadium for those games, it was primarily Jets fans. But when we were going to AFC championship games back to back, it was really only Jets fans in that stadium, pretty much.
Hmm.
Certainly above 90%. And when you get that type of atmosphere where like opening day when we had Aaron Rodgers was primarily a Jets crowd, and it's electric. And much like going to a Kansas City game, or before they had won their Super Bowl, they were frustrated fan base for a really long time. Super successful every year, but not didn't have that ring yet. And every I feel like any team that's not doing well is going to have a lot of away fans at their stadium. It just, especially if you're in a city that's highly regarded as fun to go to, and New York, and even like Tennessee, Nashville, or Miami. Like a lot of people want to go to those games, and if it happens to be on a Thursday night or a Monday night, you could take the whole weekend and get away to a city you want to see. Um, and we fall into that category. So you know, and we play a lot of teams that are well traveled. Kansas City this year. Last year we had Dallas and Philadelphia, and the John. So it just Pittsburgh. It just seems to always fall pretty tough for us. But you can't switch teams. Been doing this 50 years. I'm not going to switch now. Um, and but when the stadium's alive, I feel like it's pretty great. I
Hmm.
don't want to put it in like a category of Arrowhead or Seattle, but we're up there. And if you've seen it or you get to witness it, it's pretty cool.
Most definitely. And again, I go back to that 2023 game. You and Fireman Ed, you guys get the crowd going like that. Like, what is that like leading a crowd of almost 80,000 people doing that?
It's usually Scott and Ed, and
Okay.
that day Scott was late to a scene. I guess I'm kind of like the fifth wheel. If they can't find one of them, they'll come to me. They've panned to me a lot on the third down to get the crowd going on third down. But it's awesome. I mean, especially in the beginning of the game, they play the ACDC right after the national anthem, and then I look to the right of me. I'll see Scott on his stoop, and then I'll look up by the 50-yard line. I see Ed, and they're just getting the crowd going. And being a part of that sometimes on the screen is just awesome.
Hmm.
Um, you don't notice as much because it's hard to watch the screen because it's actually a little bit behind of what live is. So you never want to really look up there when you're up there because you'll get a little bit disorientated. But it's amazing. I mean, I sit in section 128, and most of the fans around there know me and I know them, and it's a group that's been together. I guess around 16 years now. It'll be our 16th season here, and a lot of the people are the same. So it's like it's your fall family, your winter family, and it's really cool. And they stand up when I stand up because I sit in the front row, so they don't really have a choice. We like to annoy the away fans as much as we can, and but it's electric. It's always electric, but when we're good, it makes it even better.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And yeah, and that's when you hit on family, right? I've been a season. I was going to games for years up here, and then I became a season ticket holder, and now I with my kids, I'll take one kid to the washroom. Okay, yeah, we'll watch the other kid, no problem. It's just kind of that peace of mind. Like I have that
Yeah.
genuine comfort, and that's what football can represent: community relationships and all that fun stuff,
Yeah,
right?
somebody goes up there like, you want me to bring you down a premio, or I'll say, hey, you need a beer, or it just kind of works like that. So it's definitely nice. The tailgate is a huge thing for us.
Hmm.
Um, my job is pretty simple at the tailgate. I put out the cones and save the parking spaces for everybody. And we're in the D10, which is the D lot's primarily a Jets tailgate. But we're over in the corner, and we have anywhere between like 40 and 100 people a game. It's a non-paid tailgate. It's just family, friends, and so I get there about 5 in the morning. The lot opens up about 8. I'll put my cones out no matter what the weather is. And then when everyone gets there, I start to pull the cones in. But, they all have to cook. They bring the cornhole. My job is hard because I'm there early,
Yeah.
but it's easy because I'm done very early. So, I think it's the easiest job at the tailgate.
I love it. The tailgate experience in the NFL is second to none. I mean, we when we went to Kansas City, it was people giving food and I've talked to Casey Glitzen. She goes, yeah. I said, what time do you get up for a noon game? Between 4 and 5 a.m. Okay. Oh, I can't
Yeah.
come pick us up at the hotel, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. We rented a condo close to the stadium the last 2 seasons, I think. And it was about 6 miles. And I'd wake up at 4:30, take my shower, get all my stuff together, and then pack my car. I'd go, and then my fiance got tired of that. So she would go get her coffee and breakfast in the morning and Uber to the stadium at a reasonable time and get there at 9 o'clock or whatever. Some, not too late, but
Yeah.
I like being there early. I mean, these are people I see 10 times a year,
Hmm.
not including away games.
Right.
And I cherish the 5 hours that we get in the parking lot before the game.
Hmm.
Because we all don't sit super close to each other. Some of us do. There's probably 5, 6 people from my tailgate, maybe a little bit more in my section, but then Scotty's over in 123, and we got people even in the upper decks. And once the game ends, we try to congregate back and do a post gate while the traffic's leaving the stadium and cook again. But it's great. It's tough. It's tough. You're living in Canada, so the weather always plays a role. It could rain, it could snow, it could, but you just gotta, make the most of it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Wear the right gear and right shoes and socks and undergarments and stay warm as you can.
Well, that's right, and it is like kind of the fishing trip. It's just football, and so that's how
Hmm.
I view it. And when the schedule came out, my wife's a teacher, and I was like, well, I was hoping for the later game. Okay, a noon game. Okay, the kids can't even hit the pool. We're going straight to the stadium. I'll have to bribe them with something that I can't get up in Canada. So that'll be.
Yeah. Every one of our games this year is 1 o'clock at home. So we have
I
no night
was.
games.
Yeah, you guys don't have a primetime game.
No, last year too.
Yeah,
I mean, a home primetime game.
right.
I think we have two away primetime games, but it's so much better when they're at home. I love it because an 8 o'clock night game. We
Mhm.
usually get to the stadium around 1 or 2 in the afternoon,
Nice.
and you're eating different things for lunch than you are at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like
Hmm.
8 o'clock in the morning, I'm not exactly craving a premium sausage sandwich, but we do an egg sandwich and then we go to a lunch menu. And Frank West, who's the Jets Green Santa, is the cook at our tailgate. And he actually, a lot of people cook at our tailgate, but he cooks an absorbent amount. He won Chop Champion a few years back, so he's
Nice.
makes some pretty gourmet stuff, chicken sandwiches, Gotham glizzies, all these different things he names them, and smokes ribs and makes his homemade uh, zeppelis and just, really, he does a really, everyone on our tailgate is very sharing with the food. But
Hmm.
Frank goes a little bit above and beyond what most people do.
Well, yeah, I think he actually wants to come on the podcast. So yeah,
He
that'll
would,
be
yeah. He
that'll
does
be
a lot for the
interesting.
Marty Lyons Foundation.
Yeah. Okay.
We all try and do charity work with our spare time, and
Hmm.
I do starting to do some work with an autism group, and we're going to be doing some stuff with them for opening day and helping those guys get to work and be in the workforce and stuff like that. So
Nice.
it's always good to give back.
Yeah, it definitely is. I find that we're always better off when we do that. No doubt. Memorable games. I was in college when this game happened. The Miracle at the Meadowlands.
Monday
Mike,
Night Miracle.
yeah, Monday Night Miracle.
Yeah, I just watched
Michael.
it a month ago. Yeah.
uh, Miller on the call. Um, Kind of take us through those emotions. Everybody kind of knows about the Jumbo Elliott play, but
Yeah, it was Dennis Miller,
Dennis Miller,
the,
yes.
the comedian, and he was with Frank Gifford. And somewhere around halftime, Arnold Schwarzenegger came into the booth and made a comment how much he loved Wayne Corbett and how the Jets were going to come back. I think at the time it was like 23-3. Um, at 23-3, I wasn't really thinking we were out of it
Mhm.
because it's the first half. You score a touchdown, you get a turnover, you can very easily get back into a game like that. But after the first half, um, they had, I believe it was a pick six or an early touchdown in the second half. And that's when the stadium just started to empty out. And I moved down at that stadium. I had front row, second tier. and I had a lot of friends in the lower bowl. And you know, again, there were probably cell phones invented, but we didn't have them. And I'm just kind of like trying to get their attention, and they're like, "Come down, come down." So talk to the usher, give him a little tip, and we're down there, and slowly but surely, everything starts to go our way. We're getting three and outs, and it's 30-14, and and I'm like, man, we got it's the fourth quarter, I know, and we were down. I think we scored four touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
Um, but it was every single thing was breaking our way. I mean, Miami was even making their mistakes. Instead of running the clock, they're throwing incomplete passes, and it just was a perfect whirlwind to get back into the game. And then before you knew it, I'm sitting in someone's seat that's coming back in. And I guess they gave up at the gate because it's a rule when you leave, you can't come in. And I think it just got bombarded and rushed, and everyone was back in the stadium. And I'm standing in an aisle because I was in somebody's seat. So I just kind of stayed there with everybody. And it was one of the most memorable games of my life for sure. I mean, not to have left and to stay there was awesome. And the guys I was with in the second tier actually left and came back, but we couldn't find each other. So I was like, I was catching a ride with somebody else, and I was like, I know they're back, but when we got back to the parking lot, they had been there, and I guess they were listening on their radio and realized, oh shit, I got to get back in there. And I don't leave games now, even when we're getting blown out. I stay.
Yeah.
I just stay. I never know when somebody may score a crazy touchdown or something really great can happen. Um, and it's happened for us a few times. We always have one or two wins a year where I'm like, I'm so glad I stayed. This year was the Atlanta game when Nick Folk kicked the field goal that didn't go above 12 yards and just went straight the whole time and somehow went through the uprights from like 50 yards. And I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of my most memorable games, Monday Night Miracle, for sure. I mean, there was a lot of plays there. The catch by Coles, the catch by Corbett. Our running back was going off, but everything was just breaking right for us.
Mhm.
And Vinny was having a horrible game. I think he had 3 or 4 interceptions in the first half. And it was like everything he was throwing, we were like, what are you doing? Overthrowing. It was just crazy. But then, obviously the Jumbo Elliott play, which live took a long time because it was reviewed. We didn't know if it was really a touchdown. And, the Jumbotrons aren't what they were, and neither is replay back then. They didn't have the technology that they have now and all the camera angles. But, you saw his face on the big screen and his eyes got really wide open. And it was just an amazing, amazing moment, to come back because we had tied it up and then they scored a long touchdown and then we drove back down and tied it up. And then, of course, we get the interception in overtime. He's running it back, fumbles the ball. Miami gets the ball back and has a first down. And it's like, oh, what are we doing? We can't get a break here.
Right.
And then another interception by the same guy. I can't remember if it was Hawk. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, he got both interceptions that game. And then we kicked the field goal and walk-off win, and it was pretty great.
Didn't that game like end just after 1 o'clock in the morning or something?
I can't remember the exact time, but it was late because it
Yeah.
was a Monday night game, and games back then started somewhere between 8 and 9,
Yeah.
and it did go to overtime.
Hmm.
So it was a long game.
Yeah, definitely. How did Hulk Hands kind of came come to be?
So in the 70s, around 1978 ish, um, there was a show that came out with Lou Ferrigno called The Incredible Hulk. Prior to that, I had always loved the Hulk comic books. I enjoyed reading them as best I could. I really liked the pictures. I liked all comics back then, but the Hulk was just kind of like my guy. And it was uh, it was just my thing. So I had some Hulk glove. I had some stuff my mom would buy me because she knew I liked it. And um, I remember watching Lou Ferrigno on TV and then watching Joe Klecko live. And I thought, man, this guy, the way he hits people, the way he runs out of the tunnel, he just looked like a real version of the Incredible Hulk. And as a kid, it's super impressive. Um, and as time went on, I mean, I have so much Hulk stuff and so much Jet stuff. The colors are so similar. So I got a pair of Hulk hands in around 2003. Marvel came out with some, and there was some other ones prior that were a little bit small that I wore. But 2003, they came out with like these legit ones that when you bang them together, they made noise, and when they had like it just was cool. And I put them on, and I put my jersey on. I'm like, man, this is the exact color I'm going to wear them to the game. And my friend, he's like, you're going to look like an idiot, and I'm like, that's okay. I look like an idiot every game anyway. I wear construction helmet and all crazy stuff. So I put them on and it just kind of stuck. And before too long, um, I started to put Hulk hands on my jerseys because I had gotten somebody had given me one and I can't remember the guy's name, but he gave me like a Hulk hands jersey. And I always wore '03 because Super Bowl three. I didn't want to just use the number three because we actually had guys that would wear that number as a kicker or a quarterback. And I never wanted to like take someone else's number. So I just put 0-3. And when we win the next Super Bowl, I'll switch to that number maybe. But after years and years of jerseys and closets of Muhammad Wilkerson, Jamal, Sam Darnold, you could just go down the line. All these people that we get and trade, it just became frustrating. So I started to wear retro jerseys like Wesley Walker or Joe Klecko or those because they're always good forever. Obviously Joe Namath,
Yeah.
and then I started to wear the Hulk hands jersey, and it just kind of caught on. Um, Even with the away fans that they'd be like, "Oh, I see you on TV. You're the Hulk hands guy. Oh, I see you." And it was just it was just kind of cool. And for the last 23 years or so, I've worn them to every game I go to, even like preseason practices, or if the Jets ask me to do something for Amazon or Good Morning America. Any of these things like, oh, make sure you bring your hands, or so. Um, I guess it's a catchy thing. I didn't expect it to be. I just thought this is cool. I can bang on the walls with them,
Right.
and they're green. And then I put Jets on the knuckles, and the camera seems to like them. And it's so much fun with the fans and the away fans and meeting and the kids, and they're like, "Oh, I love Hulk," and I'm like, "Yeah, me too, man. Get yourself a pair. You could end up like this." And their parents are like, "No, no, no, we don't want our kid at 55 years old wearing Hulk hands going to a football game."
No, but you're never too old to have fun, and this is what I appreciate. Like it's not offensive, and for the people that it is, they find something else. Like it's just no, this is something like again at the draft and everything else. Like yeah, the camera focuses in, um, and that's why you are the super fan that you are. You're not that fan that says, okay, well I'm going to cheer for the Colts because they got Peyton Manning, and then okay, he goes to the Broncos. Well, I'll cheer for the Broncos. Like, no, no, like your Jets through and through. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's
as
not.
kids, we had it a little bit easier than they have it now because now they're playing video games and they're like, "Oh, I want to be Patrick Mahomes, so I'm a Chiefs fan. I want to be Tom Brady." I get it because as a kid, I played Space Invaders. We didn't have these games,
Mhm.
and they're so in depth now that I see why kids. Obviously, they want to root for a winner, and I get that, but I see why kids are a Jalen Brunson fan this year. And in the '90s, they might have liked Michael Jordan, or you know what I mean. But when we grew up, and true fans, I feel it's usually from the city you're from, or you identify your father was from Philly, or your dad was from Dallas, or my mom went to Ohio State, so I'm whatever that might be. You can always have an affiliation. You don't have to live in the city, although most diehard fans, I would say, probably come from the city that they root for, or their father did, or it could be generations deep of people that this is who we root for because my dad was from Pittsburgh, and even though I live in New York now, I bleed green, black and yellow, and I get it, because parents want to raise their kids the way they want to raise them, and they have every right to. Um, my kids would have been Jets fans. My cats are Jets fans. That's
Yes.
just there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But they have so many other things to do now. When I didn't have the video game to play, I wanted to go to Shea Stadium and watch it. They would rather watch an 85-inch television with replay and stay warm and play a video game at
Yeah.
halftime. And I get it. It's a different era now.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm kind of old school in that way.
Well, I mean that's why I have the season tickets with the kids, and I show them their names on the board, like they actually have it in Winnipeg here, and it's like. again, if they want to be Bomber fans in 20 years from now, that's up to them. But for now, this is what I want them to be brought up in, and it's that
Hmm.
culture, right? And because there's a lot of other stuff out there that isn't good, so that's the way I view it.
Yeah. I mean, spending time with your father or mother and holding hands, walking through a parking lot to a game and getting a hot dog. These are memories that, I didn't get with my parent. My mom didn't go to football games, but
Right.
I got them with friends. And, I have them now with my fiance, with all my friends that are like brothers to me that I've known, some of them 50 years. And it's just they're memories they're the best memories that I have
Hmm.
in my life. And you know, you can't, you can't buy those. It's not graduating. It's not, a Christmas gift. It's just real, raw love for something you have no control over is almost the definition of true love because you have zero control of what happens. And some people say, well, the players don't care. They don't this, they don't that. The players I like cared. you know, I am fortunate enough to be friends with Wesley Walker and Marty Lyons and speak to them on the phone and it's do events with them for charity and it's awesome to see them they really cared and I meet players say that they care they want to win
Yeah.
they want the ring and I want that for them I want that
Mhm.
for me too.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been since Super Bowl three, so I totally get it. There have been some opportunities. They went to the AFC Championship game versus the Broncos in '98. Well, that was early '99,
We
and
were up
then
10-0.
up 10-0 at half. I always keep
Mm-hmm.
reckoning back to that. Eh, and especially with Atlanta beating Minnesota, it was, kind of right there, right? So, uh, and then the back-to-back AFC Championship games, they go into Foxborough and they beat Tom Brady, right? And it's just like, they just couldn't quite get over that.
Yeah,
And
we
then
had a
just
terrible
very,
first quarter against Pittsburgh in that year.
yes,
It was 21-0 in the blink of an eye.
yeah.
We came back though. I mean, that team was good. I just, and we did that with Mark Sanchez, who, no offense to Mark Sanchez, but like he's not Patrick Mahomes. And like it goes to show you that someone like Geno Smith gives me some realm of hope because competency at quarterback can win you a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold just did it. And Sam Darnold led the league in turnovers this year
Mhm.
and he won a Super Bowl. So it's not always it's really more of a team sport than people think. I mean, Tom Brady got a lot of credit for what he did, and he's the best quarterback I've seen. But his defense and his coaching were outstanding. His wide receivers were super underrated. The running game was underrated. Like he did a lot, and I give him all the credit in the world. But there is those teams that win that don't have Tom Brady, and it happens more often than not. I agree. A high percentage of the time, a first round pick is winning the Super Bowl, like Sam Darnold was a first round pick, but he was a forgotten person, as was Geno. And I don't expect it to be like that, but if things break your way and the defense ends up being a top three defense in the league and things come together and some of these draft picks Cooper works out and Sadiq works out, and all of a sudden you're looking at the Jets and you're like, wait a second, we're not really the same old Jets. We have a signed running back in Brees Hall who should be happy now. We have his backup, Braylon Allen, who is weighed in at 250 pounds of full muscle and is a completely different player than he was at 238. Isaiah Davis, and then you start to go through our O line, which might be the strongest point of our entire team right now.
Mhm.
And you add in Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Sadiq, Mason Taylor, uh, AG, and you start to see, or sorry, AD, Adonai Mitchell. And I don't know how you're going to put 8 in the box against this team anymore. And Brees Hall's had that his entire career. I don't know how you're going to double team Garrett Wilson, who's also had this his entire career. Now that there's help elsewhere, and I think that the offense of the Jets is going to surprise a lot of people if Geno can just be Geno. Not even if he can throw for 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, somewhere in that range. I think this team is a wild card possibility, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people with the offense because they have weapons, and if these rookies work out, it's a big if, but they're going to be tough to guard. I mean, Sadiq is a matchup nightmare for any team, and that leaves Mason Taylor really open, or Garrett Wilson, or Adonai Mitchell, or Omar Cooper, or, all these guys, uh, and if they decide we got to man up on everybody, well, Braylon Allen weighs 250 pounds, so if he gets past the line, good luck on a cornerback or a safety stopping him, within 5 yards. So, I mean, I think the offense is going to be a big surprise for everyone this year, I think.
No, I would tend to agree. I mean, I think they got the right guy at the helm there in Aaron Glenn, signed through 2029. And there were a lot of close games. I mean, you look at even last year, week one versus Pittsburgh, it was right there. They lost
Mm-hmm.
the close game in Tampa. It's just, again, there's no moral victories in sport. Uh, only close as in horseshoes, as they say. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're that far off, right? It's always that 6 degree of separation, as they say, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean, if Gino ends up working out, great. If not, we got three number ones next year. You never know when a guy like Joe Burrow may say, "I want out. I'm done. I'm getting destroyed back here. I have no offensive line." He comes to the Jets. We use those other three draft picks on real players, or any other competent quarterback. Or if Gino ends up working out, which is what I'm praying for, um, you know, uh, it'll be great. Or we draft somebody and see what happens, or Club Nick, or you never know. At some point, you would think something would fall our way when it comes to quarterback. It's been a really long time. But we had some success with Pennington. We had obviously success with Testaverde and Mark Sanchez. But since then it's been rough. It's guys getting hurt. The Mike White experiment lasted a week, and it's been frustrating. You thought Aaron Rodgers would solve it, and he couldn't even do it. So it's
no, Mike White, he had that crazy game versus the Bengals. If I
the
remember,
Bengals, yeah, and that's another one where you don't leave, and you're like, "Who is this guy?" And he throws for 400 yards, and his uniform ends up in the Hall of Fame that game. So it's like, I'm glad I was there. You
that's
know,
right.
yeah.
It's one of my greatest pet peeves when people leave early. I live out of town from Winnipeg, and the other day I got home at 12:30 at night on a school night. But that's how it goes. It's one school night for the entire year. So whatever, it's
Hmm.
just you don't leave.
You just
Uh,
don't know what could happen.
you don't, and that's how it goes, and that is the beauty of sports. I know NFL comebacks are more common than they used to be, and that's what makes the Monday Night Miracle at the Meadowlands that much more special. Because a few
Yeah,
years
I think
later, when
the,
it
the
was the
Bears did
Colts
it a
in
couple of
Tampa,
times last year.
right? Yeah, so it's just like, I mean, how the rules are, everything else, right? So that's good. Who have been some of your mentors and role models in your life? I always like asking that question.
um, I would say I had a principal in high school. I had a rough time in high school. I uh, was undiagnosed ADD, ADHD, and now it's everyone has it, but like I had trouble sitting through class, and I would not pay attention. I wasn't really causing a disturbance. I just wasn't getting good grades. Um, so it was tough for me to get through school, and I joined the military when I turned 17, a week after I graduated, which I really technically wasn't even really supposed to credit wise, but the principal was like, we're going to get you through. We know what you're doing with the Navy, and I think they really kind of wanted me out of there too. Um, and but yeah, his name was Mr. Pellegrino. He wrote me a really cool letter in boot camp. He said, don't just go through it. He's like, be at the front of your company when you graduate, and it's hard because it's supposed to be, and it's stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But the military really, I feel, shaped me as a man because I didn't have a lot of strong male role models that were influential in my life, as far as speaking to me. But the military straightened me out pretty quick, and I got along real well in there. And it was taught you a lot, teamwork and discipline. And, I was pretty much after boot camp, a man and ready to like do what was asked of me in the military, and I enjoyed it a lot. It fit well for me.
Mhm.
It really did. I know a lot of people feel differently, but I support the people that serve for the country, and
Mhm.
uh, they deserve all of our respect.
Yeah.
So. But as far as like people I looked up to, like, it was like Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons. I loved everyone in the Sack Exchange. And yeah, I was a big Ken O'Brien guy. Um, and Al Toon, Wesley Walker. Most of my role models were professional athletes.
Mhm.
Um, so I was a huge Yankee fan, very big Nick fan. Thank God we won our championship. And and again, we just waited 50 something years for that. So, but it was so great when it happened. And I'm standing in my living room and I'm like, it's gonna be 50,000 times that when the Jets win.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be so much better when we finally win, because I know I'll be there, and
Mhm.
it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you wait for those moments, right? Like when the Chiefs won Super Bowl 54, I was like, holy smoke,
Hmm.
like this is I can't believe this. Like this is and even for the Bombers, even after 29 years in a nine-team league, I was like, I was in Regina the week before, and you go to game, you're like, are they ever going to win? So I get you. And when people say, why is it so, but you invest into these relationships and these communities, and
Hmm.
you talk about the charity work. And so it goes far beyond what's on the field. And do you just want to talk a bit more about your charity work?
Yeah, I mean, the Marty Lyons Foundation is a foundation that works with terminally ill children. It's Make a Wish
Yeah.
or some sort of need. Maybe it might be a bicycle that they can ride because they have a disability that they need help with, and or a van with a lift so they can actually be a little bit mobile. And no children should ever have to go through what these kids go through. No human should really have to go through it, but these are kids that are going through it. And if you've never had the chance to watch Marty Lyons speak at one of his events, I definitely recommend doing it. This was a guy that um, almost was in the buildings at 9/11, but had a canceled meeting that morning
Wow.
that actually got put to the day before. So he spoke the day before instead of the day of. And his whole lease on life became completely different after that. And he's, I think, somewhere close to 45 or $50 million worth of charity raised for his foundation. And they do amazing events. And if you don't have the opportunity to go to one, or, they have bowling, they have golf, whatever it might be, even just go online. And if you have any extra time to donate or money to donate, it's going to a really good cause. 100% of the donations go to the kids and his foundation. And then we just started doing some work with a autism program, autism awareness, and it's for adult uh, people with autism that are trying to go into the workforce. So um, we just, or I just donated a food trailer
Hmm.
um, for them, and they're going to use it as a workspace. And I don't want to go too much into it because it's going to be kind of a surprise on opening day for them.
For sure.
But uh, it's something that's near and dear to my heart with the autism, because um, my mom was an autism teacher for a period of time, and I had autistic friends as a kid. And they're some of them are they're all special, but some of them have abilities that you wouldn't believe, and even the ones that are nonverbal. And it's just kids don't see that. It's almost like kids with racism, where if they're raised somewhat correctly, you don't notice whether a kid is Asian or Indian or Spanish. You know what I mean? I'm Polish. I have Latin. I'm a big mix, but um, as a kid, these kids are sometimes ignored because they're in different classes, or but my mom was tutoring them at my house. And so I had, some one-on-one time with them. And, I obviously almost everyone is a friend with a child or a relative with autism. And, it really reaches pretty far out. So I'm super excited to get to work with these individuals and hopefully, get them in the workforce and sustainable on their own. And I mean, it's great. I mean, they're people that deserve everything that we deserve.
Yeah, it's all about paying it forward, right? That's the thing.
Hmm.
So that's so good, so awesome. What are your hopes for the next? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Still going to Jets games?
Yeah, for
Are there
sure.
other things? There CFL game in Canada, as you were saying.
I would love to go to a CFL game for sure. There's a couple of bucket list games that I've always wanted to go to. Ohio State, Michigan.
Hmm.
I've always wanted to go to a game at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And there's some like travel things I'd like to do, sports related that I haven't gotten to do yet. I've done the Yankees, Red Sox in both stadiums. I was at Derek Jeter's last game in Boston, and I've caught a ball at a Boston game in Boston against the
Wow.
Yankees. Um, and I'm a huge New York Ranger fan, so I've always wanted to go to a game in Toronto, um, and see what that was like. And there's some iconic stadiums that you see that you want to go to and just kind of experience it. And I've gotten to go to the Red Wings to watch them play, and I definitely would love to go see the Toronto Maple Leafs play. Any team wouldn't matter. I'd prefer to actually not be the Rangers so I can kind of enjoy it a little bit and not be looking left and right to make sure I'm not getting a beer thrown on me. But yeah, I mean, just kind of traveling around and seeing some iconic stadiums, iconic games would be, really cool in the latter part of my life.
Hmm.
But of course, never missing a Jet game. I'd love to do one season where I travel to every away game. I got a buddy, Kevin. He's known as Juicy Jet on TikTok. He's gone the last 2 or 3 years to every single game. He just travels with, not with the team, but
Right.
follows the team.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bucket list dream of mine to be able to do.
That's that is definitely a commitment, no doubt. So, uh,
Yeah.
I love it. You want to go see? I watched a bit of another podcast of yours, and you said you are a fan of other sports. So yes, when you bring up the hockey and that sort of thing, I mean, being in New York, you're right there with yeah, as you say, the Islanders, the Devils, and the
Yep.
Rangers.
Yep.
So where were you in '94
I
when
was
you had
there
the
at the game.
NCAA? You were okay.
Yes. I was at game 7 of the 1994 Stanley Cup. I was also at game 1 against Vancouver when we lost in overtime,
Yes,
after hitting the crossbar twice.
right.
um, yeah, my buddy Rob Steinberg, his dad was the art director for the CBS Evening News for Dan Rather. And I didn't have a paid ticket. And during the playoffs, he'd be like, hey, you want to go to a game? We just got to stand where the Zamboni comes in and out. And I'm like, yeah, are you kidding me? So for game 7, his dad saw how much we were into it. And he's like, if you want, you can come with me. We'll
Mhm.
find somewhere for you to stand. And we did. So I got some really cool pictures from that. And it's real pictures from like a camera. Because his dad was the art director for the CBS Evening News. So he like took these pictures and gave me prints of it. And his was the one that ended up on the front page of either Newsday or the Daily. It was like the back page actually, but the big
Wow.
picture of them all together. And it was an amazing experience to be there because the Rangers had, at that time, I was 24 years old.
Mhm.
So I hadn't suffered as much as people my age now, but
Right.
I went to school in Long Island, and 79, 80, 81, 82, 83 were the years that the Islanders won 4 cups in a row. So I was taking a lot of crap wearing my Ranger stuff like, haha, you guys suck, 1940, 1940, blah, blah, blah. So to get that off my back was huge at
Mhm.
that age. And the Yankees won, in the 70s and the 90s with, a lot. That was never an issue. But the Knicks were, there's no other team. The Nets were never really good. So we never really got most. I don't know anyone in New York that's not a Knicks fan. Maybe they would like the Bulls because they like Michael Jordan. But with New York, you always have the rivals. You got the Yankees and the Mets. You got the Islanders and the Rangers. You got the Jets and the Giants. But with the Knicks, you only have the Knicks. Now you have the Brooklyn Nets, but they're not really a franchise.
Well, I mean, they hosted the NBA draft in the Barclays Center, so
Yeah,
they got
the
that.
Barclays Center's awesome. Yeah.
Hmm.
But, so it's hard for them to move to Brooklyn because Brooklyn is a basketball city that was built from the Knicks. So they do have fans, but it's very difficult for them.
Interesting, because they were in
You
New
know,
Jersey before that.
right. They were bigger in New Jersey than they are here.
Interesting, because again, I was
Yeah.
in New York in 2013 and there for July 4th. You're just kind of observing things and taking it all in, right? You do the fireworks. You're like, okay, well, New Jersey's over there, and okay, I think MetLife is way over there, and this is almost 12 miles into New Jersey. Wow, that's a trek,
Yeah.
and so yeah, a lot of things going on there, and just taking everything in that New York has to offer. But wow, to be in New York though for to see that, I mean, that's wow, that's quite something. That's
Yeah. I
iconic.
was at the parade that week. We were sitting around at my buddy Jeff's house, and it was Jeff, Rob Steinberg, whose dad was the art director for Dan Rather, my friend Joey, and uh, they were actually on drugs. I was not, swear
Wow,
to God. And they said we should go to the parade, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like,
mhm,
well, if we're going to go, let's just go now.
right,
I'll drive.
yeah,
We'll get a parking garage and we'll get near City Hall. And we did. We drove 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We found a garage in the city, parked the car. I had a brand new Nissan Pathfinder. I was so happy with it. And I was like, I want to drive. I want to drive. And we parked the car. We walked to City Hall and they were just putting the gates up on the street
mhm,
for the Parade of Champions. And we got a spot right on the railing, right at City Hall. We slept there or stayed there all night. And in the morning, people were waking up and going to work, and the garbage men were parking the trucks to block streets. And, they were putting the barricades together. And the cops were like, what time do you guys get here? We were like midnight. And they're like, all right, well, you guys are first. So try not to get crushed. And we just stood there. We watched the whole parade go by. And then we got to watch the City Hall ceremony. And it was great. But I would do the same. If the Jets won the Super Bowl, I probably would go from the game to there and stay until the parade, even if it was 4 days.
right.
I'd probably just sit at City Hall.
It'll be that big in New York. That's crazy, and
I think it's going to be unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah, be good. I may have to join you. But you think about '94. You had the Rockets and the Knicks in the NBA Finals as well.
Yeah. Ewing
And
missed the layup. Smith missed the layup. Like we should have won that year, but it would have been tainted because Jordan was retired.
right, everybody says
So
that.
yeah, I think they would have won 8 in a row if he didn't
Hmm.
retire. I don't think anyone was beating him.
No.
But this year was great because they played everyone that was in their way, and there's no excuses from anybody. I mean, Boston didn't make it. It would have been great to beat them, but we beat them the year before. We were up 2 games to nothing with their best player before he got hurt.
Right.
So I wasn't really worried about Boston. I kind of wanted to play them again because I thought Cleveland was going to be a problem, but they just got hot at the right time. It's just like one of those stories that I've watched my whole life with other teams, but never mine. And just so happened to happen to mine. They just got hot at the right time, and they were a real team. Like
Hmm.
everyone contributed, and it was like just awesome to see. Like I'm like I can't believe the Knicks are going to win. Like we're down 29 points, and I have a lot of rituals that I do. I'm really OCD, even at the games. The way I keep my knees on the railing or my hands, or I walk through mirrors 2 times. I'm
Yeah,
insane.
you're answering a question I had maybe a bit later down, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. But so I said I'm going to turn this off because when I turned it off the other night, we came back.
Right.
So I turned it off. I started to play cards with my fiance, and she's watching it on her phone. And she's like, I'm like, how much is it? She's like 15. I'm like, okay. Then she goes, it's down to 10. I'm like, how much time is left? She's like, I think it was like 6 minutes left. I'm like, okay, let's just leave it as it is. And then it got down below 5. And I'm like, all right, I have to turn the game back on, but I can't watch it. So I turned the game on. I got my back to it. And they're coming back. They're coming back. They're coming back. And I turned around for the Anunoby tip, the whole play actually. And I was like, I'm so glad I saw that. And then in the finals, we were losing. I said, I should do this again. I can't watch the screen. I'm the bad luck charm.
Right.
So I stopped watching and we came back and, at the end we were up. So I was able to enjoy it. And that was great. But I have real belief that where I stand in my house or at the game changes the outcome. And I know I'm insane for it, but it's something I still do.
No, I get you. It's I had the volume at certain
Oh,
amounts.
for sure.
It's like, hey, the Jets were down. The Winnipeg Jets are down to Nashville 3-0. Okay, well, put it at 26 for Blake Wheeler, who works for the New York Rangers. I just
Yes.
did that. I'll just my son, like during when the Blue Jays had the playoff run, he like even at the beginning of the season, game three, goes, I'm going to go to my lucky spot. What do you do? Yeah, my lucky spot from last year. It's just apple doesn't fall far
Yeah.
from the tree, but
Fans are crazy when it comes to stuff like that. It's
that's
true. It's definitely
yes,
true.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Where do you see the Jets record this year?
Um, if I'm putting on I'm an anchor at ESPN hat.
Yes.
Um, I think there's somewhere between 7 to 9 wins.
Mhm.
I think that's a successful season. That's everybody staying healthy. That's everyone doing what they're supposed to do. Uh, if not, I think there could be changes in the organization at the top, um, which I don't want to see again. But I think Aaron Glenn um, is a good person. I think he's a good coach. I think he's going to be much more involved in the defense. And I've always said this. I love coaches that are on their headsets calling plays, whether it's defense or offense.
Right.
I watched Sean McVay, and I'm so jealous that that guy is the head coach and also calling plays.
Yeah.
I watched Dan Campbell last year take over some plays. You see that great example when you see all these OCs from the Chiefs getting hired elsewhere, they all fail because Andy Reid is the guy that's really calling the game plan.
It
So it's
is.
like, yeah, like now we have a guy that's calling our defense that is qualified and has a feel for it. And, it was his first year as a head coach. And maybe it's difficult to tell the guy, nah, you don't want to be in that defense. Change that up. Maybe he didn't want to make his DC feel in a certain way. And now it's him. So now he's going to be responsible for those calls. And I'm excited about it because, he did that with Detroit and I thought he did a really good job with it. And I think it's going to be a big change for our defense, having him on the mic, in the head, in the helmet. Like, I think that's a great thing. And Frank Reich having head coaching experience, also now calling the plays from the sideline, being in the helmet. I think that's a big difference from what we had last year. I think bringing that experience and the experience of a guy like Gino, it could really be a positive. And if things fall our way, or we win a game we're not supposed to, let's say we win week 2 or for a home opener against Green Bay, which is the perfect time to get them because what's his name is hurt for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Their defensive star, I can't remember his name, the guy from Dallas, but
Yeah, Parsons.
Parsons, yeah, like it's a perfect time to get them. We're at home; it's our opening day. We're going to have a lot of fans there. Like we could win that game. What if we go to Tennessee and win, and we beat Green Bay, and all of a sudden it's 2-0,
Yeah.
and wins can pile up. Like you can win a game you're not supposed to, and get to 10. And if you get to that 10 mark, you're probably in the conversation for a wild card.
Yeah.
And that's my fan heart hoping that we can do it. Like let's just see. Let's see it one time, and it can happen.
Right. I mean the loss of Sauce Gardner, I mean the trade to the Colts, I mean I know the Colts are trying to boost up and then Daniel Jones gets injured, their season kind of falls to the rails. They sign Philip Rivers, comes out of retirement. I was kind of sad to see him leave the Jets.
I think he was drafted with a really cool nickname,
Hmm.
but we got um, the same amount of picks for him as he got in his 3 years with us on the field. So, I mean, he had 2 or 3 interceptions, and he wasn't a good tackler. He doesn't have the body to be a strong. I look at Patrick Surtain the second. That's what I want in my cornerback.
Fair
I
enough.
look at Joey Porter Jr. That's what I want. I want people that hit. Sauce Gardner wasn't. He was a great cover corner,
Mhm.
but when you're starting to get called every game for a PI, this first year they really let him go, and I think it was because he's really marketable, and he had a great nickname, and the NFL wanted him to do well. But his subsequent years were not good with us, and I look at what we got for Jamal Adams after that trade because that was another blockbuster deal, and I'm happy like with what we are I've already gotten for uh, Sauce, and we still have another pick coming. I'm super happy with it. I think he's a good piece if you have a Surtain on the other side.
Right.
But I like these corners that hit. He's just not a physical corner. He's physical on the line. He's physical in coverage, but he's getting run over every game. He's skinny
Hmm.
and he's tall and lanky, and that's great for covering.
Right.
But in today's NFL, you got to be able to tackle too. You got to be able to step up to the line. It's these corners. Surtain is sacking the quarterback a few times a year. Like he doesn't have that ability. He's a great cover corner, and I met him a few times. I have so much of his memorabilia, so many of his jerseys, but I wasn't unhappy to see him go. And for that matter, the Quinton Williams too. I thought he underachieved here as well.
Hmm.
Both guys went to other teams, and
Yes.
they really didn't make a difference on the other teams at all. So I want difference makers, and those are great NFL players and good humans, but they're not difference makers. They're
Right.
just not.
Like Darrell Revis, right? Revis Island.
Right,
He
right,
he he was okay. His time in Kansas City, but in his like he was it.
right.
He
Well,
was
you have McDuffie,
yes,
and you look at guys like that, and they're difference makers in the game. They tackle, they cause fumbles after receptions. Like he just didn't do any of that.
right,
And I'd rather have somebody that's an 8 in everything than somebody that's a 10 and then a 5 at everything else. You
right.
know what I mean? He's a 10 cover corner. He's a 10 when it comes to,
Hmm.
people wanting to buy his jersey, but he's a 5 as a tackler. He's a 5 as causing interceptions. He's a 5 as causing fumbles. You know, Sertan is like a 9, 9, 9, 9, like Joey
Yeah,
Porter Jr., maybe a 6 as a 7 as a cover corner, but he's a 9 when it comes to hitting people. He's a 9 for stopping the run game. He's, like I did just other areas of the game that he was so weak in that it was exposed. And it's great that they weren't throwing to him, but they were running on his side every game and he couldn't stop it. And it's frustrating to watch that every week. You're like,
right.
man, this guy's got to learn how to tackle. It's like watching guys miss free throws. I'm like, just do 1,000 a day in the off season. Like, what are we doing here?
There's that one guy on the Knicks. We're
Yeah,
I'm
Mitchell,
like, what's his name? Is it
Mitchell,
Mitchell? Yeah.
Mitchell
I'm like,
Robinson. Yeah,
oh boy, let's kind of take a
it's
deep breath.
Shaq was like that.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, like he's a superstar. Like just get in the gym and do free throws all summer.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, I like that perspective because you're at the game. So when I'm watching the game on the TV, okay, well, they're showing Sauce like doing stuff, but like you see it. You're right there. You see it all.
Yeah, he gets run
Right.
over.
Yeah.
Like there's certain stuff that there's no stats for. Um, you know, Tackles for loss, there's a stat for it. Tackles, there's a stat for it. But when you miss a tackle,
Hmm.
it's not something that's like on the game sheet. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you don't see it, but he missed a lot of tackles. He was just
Yeah.
getting abused.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
you know,
I saw that 2 weeks ago with the Bombers too. I won't name who because I'm Facebook friends with the defensive coordinator. So but it's like, whoa, I'm sure they tightened over the bye week, but yes, yeah, I can imagine that is definitely frustrating.
yeah.
One more game I want to ask you about. The game, the 10-year anniversary, Cowboys and Jets in 2011, the Sunday night game. They showed Fireman Ed holding the U.S. flag. Were you
Hmm.
also holding the U.S. flag?
No, I wasn't. Ed's seats aren't near mine. Um,
Okay, that's what I saw
yeah.
on TV. So I,
Yeah, yeah. Ed was holding the U.S. flag, and Ed's the original super fan. Him and Jetman, not
Mhm.
Jetman. I'm sorry, Captain Jet.
Yeah.
Ray Hoffman.
Mhm.
Those two guys are like the original guys. Ray wears the helmet with the plane.
Yes.
He used to be on TV all the time. Now he gets on from time to time. But Ed's still on there all the time. Like Ed's Ed,
Yeah.
firing Ed. Ed and Scotty they're like those are the two guys. Those are the Mount Rushmore. You got Ed,
Yeah.
Scotty, Ray.
Right.
So.
Uh,
But the 9/11 games are always special.
yes.
Um,
Just in
Even
general.
the one with Aaron Rodgers was amazing. We the range of emotions in the stadium that day. It's one of my favorite games I've ever been to. Even though we lost Aaron Rodgers, we won that game in overtime on a kick return,
Hmm.
and it was incredible.
Yeah.
That seeing that live was just man. We won. We beat the Bills. We're going to be okay. We're 1-0. We're in first place. Of course, that's not how it worked out, but you know, it's just special moments like that because opening day, everyone's in first place. So we have a really good. Last year we played Pittsburgh, so it was tough because Pittsburgh travels really well.
Yeah.
This year we got Green Bay as our home opener, but they'll. I don't know if Green Bay's away week one or not, or at home, but I don't think we're going to have too many Green Bay fans in our stadium. So it's going to be a really cool home game, and if we can pull off the win against Tennessee week one, which there's about 200 of us going to that game. Um, we'll, it'll be really exciting atmosphere.
Yeah. Most definitely. And I thought to myself before I got on here, there's something I'm forgetting. And my boss was actually at that game you're talking about between the Bills where Allen throws his three picks. And
Mm-hmm.
he gave me the wristband that lit up the whole
The
stadium.
light up wristband, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
the first time I'd ever seen that. I talk about that all the time. Woody
mhm,
Johnson and the Jets did an unbelievable job. Their front office is incredible. I know they get a lot of flack, but not from me. They've treated me unbelievable. Everyone in the front office there, and I'd never seen those lights before. When the stadium went dark, I was like, "Oh, cool!" And then all of a sudden, everything's lighting up. Of course, I'm not wearing mine because I have my Hulk hands on.
yeah.
But during that game, I was up on the big screen doing the Jets chant before the game, which was awesome. And watching Xavier Gibson in overtime catch that thing and then just start running, I'm like, we're in field goal range. Wait a minute, he's going to score. And then the game ended, and my necklace broke. The TV panned to me. I'm looking down, looking for my necklace. We were jumping up and down, going nuts. And that was one of my favorite games ever to be at.
Mhm.
It was incredible. 9/11 means a lot to me. I lost a few friends that day. And, I think it's great that, we remember history. And it was just a great game. I mean, one of my favorites ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you hit on the 9/11. The Jets played the Colts. I think it was a few days prior to 9/11. Herman Edwards is the head coach, all that.
Yes.
Just yeah, kind of everybody remembers the Giants and Broncos playing on the Monday night. Um, I I kind of keep going here, but what do you remember in the NFL in that time frame? I mean, they had the week off, and everybody was wondering when the Super Bowl was going to be in New Orleans, and somebody had a bye
Yeah.
and whatever else. But
I remember them canceling the games.
mhm,
I remember them canceling the baseball games too, because the Yankees were I think we lost in the World Series that year to Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. But we were in a playoff run during that time too, and everything stopped. It was I had my buddy Steve Kaleo, Mark Kaleo, his brother, both passed away. They worked for Cantor Fitzgerald on the 105th floor. They were in the building. It was a tough time for a lot of people, and from tough times, sometimes really great things come out of it. The city was so together. Um, and I wish it was still like that now because there's so much division now.
yeah,
And it just takes looking at that to know and remember what things could be like. We're
mhm,
fighting over silly things now when the big picture is planes were flying into buildings, killing thousands of people. That's something to be upset about
yeah,
because someone wins or loses an election. Listen, you go out and you vote again, and that's what you do. You don't need to compare it to a 9/11 or because it doesn't. And it's it's tough being a veteran losing people in that. I almost went back into the military at that time. I
Mm,
had real thoughts of I was angry and I'm like, I want to help. I want to do something. And, I had a very good job at the time. And, I was older, but, I still could have, gone. And I called my recruiter and he's like, well, we'll keep you in mind right now. You wouldn't fit into what you used to do before. Obviously, you'd have to retrain and this and that. And I was like, okay, but yeah, I was upset
mm,
and I was mad at the people that did it,
yeah.
and I wanted revenge. And it was. But when I would walk around New York City and the sports started back up again, there was such a camaraderie, even between the away fans, even the Red Sox and the Yankees fans. It was like you knew what was more important. You just knew if there was something erupting, people would be like, "Hey, knock that s off."
Yeah.
Even if they were on not on your team. It was just a different era, and I thought it was unbelievable how the world, or at least the sports world, came together after that. And Wayne Corbett gave his jersey to a friend of mine that night and signed it 9/11
Mm,
first game after 9/11. Wayne Corbett, and he gave it to him, and I thought it's like the coolest thing to be able to have that, and for Wayne to do that. He's another unselfish guy where he's the epitome of what a Jets fan is. He's a blue collar guy, came from Hofstra School that doesn't draft people, into the NFL, and just worked his way against all odds onto the team. And uh, that's like just that's just a great story. Like the odds are always stacked against Jets fans. They're always stacked against, at one point, Chiefs fans. Oh, they're great, but they lose every year.
right.
Oh, they're great, but they're this, but they're that. And then they win, and the whole narrative changes. I can't stand them because they win every year. 10 years ago,
Right.
you were saying we couldn't win. And now we have three chips, and
Yeah.
it's like completely different. Yeah.
Well, I know, and I always say my kids don't know how good they have it. I mean, yeah, Clark Hunt. I mean, shoot, he was like 4 years old when
Yeah.
they went right. So, and for me, I couldn't get the D4 offside out of my head. Like, if that doesn't happen, they go to us. They probably beat the Rams. We don't know, and it's like
Hmm.
so hard to get back, right? So, but that's the thing. It brings unification. And I had a guy on here from Brooklyn, and he's a Mets fan, and talked to him about the Piazza home run after 9/11, and these sorts of things that kind of ring in your head. And just it was a very still time. Like even here with the Bombers, the game after 9/11 it was a Monday night game, and like in Winnipeg, like Monday, we were like, it's Monday Night Football. And Brian Clark, who's friends with Wayne Corbett, brought out there was a couple guys that brought out U.S. Canadian flags, and there was just this sense of unification that we're going to do this. And like you said, it's far from that now, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a shame that tragedy causes people to come together.
Mhm.
And it's like that in life. Someone passes away and you see a cousin or a friend that you hadn't seen in 10 years. I wish I had called you.
Yeah,
You should never start with the I wishes. If you wish it, just do it because these are easy wishes. It's not like I wish for the Jets to win the Super Bowl. It's not something I can do. But if I say, oh, I wish I had called my father before he passed away, I wish I had called my sister, or wish that's an easy wish. Just call.
yeah,
If you're thinking about doing it or you think there's even a minor amount of regret, just do it because worst case scenario, you don't regret it. You
right,
know,
right.
it's a no lose situation.
Yep. And yeah, as I say, I believe about, as I said before, passing it forward and doing your best, and making someone's life better. So with all these cherries and everything else, the sky's looking pretty up for you there, I would say.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I it's been knock on wood. It's been good. Thank the big guy upstairs, and you know your support system and your friends and
Hmm.
family, and you know it. Life's good. You do the right thing.
Yeah,
Things come back to you.
yeah,
So
that they definitely do. And you know what, Chiefs are my team, but honestly, the Jets are kind of a second. I don't mind rooting for them, and It's been awesome to talk to you here.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah,
You
appreciate
too.
that.
So
Yeah, yeah.
I hope I see you at the
Anytime.
stadium. Yeah. So
So maybe see you in November in Kansas City.
yeah, I mean, I would love to go. Kansas City was a really fun city to go to the draft. Really good barbecue.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, if enough guys are going,
Hmm.
and we're in the hunt, that might help me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean,
that stadium is so iconic. I know I would regret not going to the last Jet game there. So it'd be a cool thing to do.
yeah. I mean, based on the schedule, yeah, they should hit there one more time between 2031, but between now and then. So yeah, it's. But we did the tour the day before, and it's quite something. You're just 80,000 people in here. It's wild.
Yep, amazing,
It is. Uh,
amazing.
and yeah, and that's what you say. Like I'm like with I'm planning when I saw all the families down there 3 years ago. I'm like in 2026, I'm taking the family. So when the schedule came out, okay, that's what we're doing, and we're gonna do it because why not?
That's great.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as I say, this has been awesome, and
Yeah, for sure.
I'll record this, or it has been recording. I'll put this on my Facebook page there, Late Night with Smitty, and I'll put it on YouTube as well, and we'll go from there and go Jets.
Sounds good.
Okay, you take care.
You too.
God bless.
You too.